Alrighty, welcome back everybody. This will be the third video in the series of getting started in Helldivers 2. And it will feature more tips and tricks and more gameplay of me going from levels 1, 2, and 3 difficulty against the various factions. This third video will be on the final faction to touch on, which will be the Illuminate. Now, as I've touched on before in previous videos, each of the factions has different levels of progression from 1, 2, and 3. The standard enemies being present in the first level, in the second level getting an extra layer of moderately armored or even just a little bit of extra variety of standard enemies, and then finally getting up to some more heavily armored troops doing even more dangerous missions overall. So let's go ahead, and we're going to go to the Illuminate sector. Currently, we have a major order to liberate Sanguinis Prime. Genesis Prime. Genesis Prime is located here. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to assist a little bit in the actual liberation of this planet. Now, in order to do that, let's see. I'm going to choose this mission right here. Now, the Illuminate work a little different. They don't have worlds of their own, so to speak. They like to take over our world. So a lot of our maps that we're going to be fighting them on are not out in the wild, but rather in cities or in areas that are heavily littered with buildings and constructions. So what we're going to do is we're going to land here at the evac zone, cycle out, go counterclockwise to take out those locations and get the two things that we need, and continue to cycle around towards our objective point. And as previously mentioned, helmet and cape doesn't matter. We're using VO1 standard, medium armor. We have the AR-23 Liberator, standard, P2 Peacemaker, standard, and the G12 Hi-X grenades, standard. Not doing anything crazy, just want to make sure people know that that's what we're going to be rolling with. Precision Orbital Strike, MG43, the 817, and the A/MG-43 Machine Gun Sentry. Here we go. Now, the Illuminate tend to blend a bit of both Terminid and automaton combat philosophy. Their early units are all melee swarms, just like the Terminids, but they drop in like the robots do, similarly at least. We're gonna move towards target. Since we're in city and it's really close, I'm gonna drop the sight down to 25 meters. Will give us a somewhat cleaner, shorter range look than the 50 meter or the 100 meter. Okay. So as I said, their basic units that they have are the voteless. We're probably coming up on one right now in front of me. Nope. That is an Overseer. They have what's called a Blade of Armor and a staff weapon. let's do a quick tactical breakdown of what just happened. I saw him, I engaged with him in short bursts, hit him in the chest repeatedly, and blew his chest armor off. But he closed the distance while charging and firing his staff weapon, and in the end, he managed to actually do enough damage to knock me down and kill me with a finishing swing. Unlike the bot's armor, their armor breaks. And when their armor breaks, it exposes their weaknesses underneath them. So that's kind of the big difference, is their guys have very easily destructible armor. Granted, he was still able to soak, I think it was about 4 or 5 bursts from me, so most of a magazine. That tattletale that they have that calls in their backup troops and such. It also has a nasty little shock ability. Go. If you focus fire on their chest, it's very easy to blow their armor off and then knock them. But again, that's just one of them, and you can fight them in larger amounts. So it's just one of those situations where if you have the drop, you have to engage. But they also have that nasty little energy shield you saw him pop up, and that will soak gunfire as well. It can be broken temporarily, but he's going to use the time with that shield up to close the distance, as well as absorb the gunfire. As an alternative, you can shoot them in the legs. It's not as effective or reliable, though, especially because their legs do have a decent amount of spread between them, and they're not overly thick. It can be difficult to actually land consecutive hits on the legs. And with a light pen weapon like this, it's not going to do any damage until it blows off the armor. Now, grenades work fairly decently against them, if you can get them to stand still long enough for your grenades to go off. But let's say that you can't. Then you just have to focus fire them down. That's why I use short bursts to do that. There he goes. Now on these maps we will have siege soldiers running around like this one, and they can and will assist by engaging with nearby threats. You can also tell them to follow you around as well, and they will follow you. Just like that. You can also tell them to wait. Got a lucky find there. I got an AMR, anti-material rifle. These usually are one of the better guns to get for a support weapon drop. They have heavy armor pen. They have 7-round magazines. They can carry up to 8 magazines, plus 1 loaded. And they hit fairly hard, as one would expect an anti-material rifle to be able to do. Unfortunately, there is no reticle when you aim with it in this third-person view. this one has reticle. So what does that mean? It means you kind of have to wing it if you're going to be in third person, or you have to aim down sight with it in order to actually have accurate shooting. Well, precise shooting versus accurate shooting. But at this distance, it's not too hard to get a shot on. Those are voteless. Voteless are the basic infantry of the enemy. One 3-round burst to the chest is enough to drop them. So most people will just spray their legs out from under them and turn them into crawling zombies. Even with an anti-material rifle, their blade of armor does take quite a bit of the sting out of my shots. Our main target is that overship. In order to take it out, we have to get the orbital defense cannon up and into firing position. Which in order to do that, we have to get the locks disengaged. So there's one lock here, one on the opposite side. Set to head up there and open up. And present to you the Super Earth Armed Forces Orbital Defense Cannon. I would make a compensating joke, but I don't think that's necessary at this point. So this weapons platform does require a lot of work. First off, we gotta turn this to face the correct general direction of the target. Line it up using the ass end of this thing. A little bit more to the left. Alright, should be on target now. Alright. Get Big Willie up. Okay. should be on target. Alright, stand by for firing solution. Fire. Hit, but that one was a little bit low. Let's see if we can get the willy up just a little bit. I think that's gonna be right at about where we need it. Let's fire our next round. A little high. Right about there should do. And check firing solution. Alright. Pre-proceed is good. Fire for effect. Might be off by just a freckle though. The goal is kind of to try to hit in the little bitty circle. There we go. Should put it just about where we need it. About 3, 2, 1, firing again. Firing once more. Now we can evacuate. Neat tip, by the way, the Overseer helmets, though they are also made of ablative armor, are not strong enough to soak a shot from a anti-material rifle. But it has to be a direct hit to the helmet. Just gonna get rid of that so I can keep showing you how I would handle things if I didn't have access to that weapons platform. Also, why the hell am I going all the way over this way when I'm supposed to be going this way? Takes most of a magazine to drop one of those guys, assuming that you're hitting with most of your shots and not whiffing or nailing their shield. Took about a third of that point. I think their backs might be weak against incoming gunfire. There is a bit of a difference between shooting something in the front and shooting them in the back. I think their armor is built so that they can take hits from the front better. So, anytime you get the opportunity to shoot them in the back, it's a good opportunity. Medium armor pen is ideal against these guys if you just want to be able to spray them down with relative ease. But against their usually more numerous voteless hordes, it's better to have something that's a light pen that you have a good mag capacity on.
ETA T-minus 1 minute.
city maps, your ship might have to reposition due to angle of fire for certain types of stratagems, like the orbital precision strike is actually a cannon shot from your ship, which, depending on where in the city you are, proportional to where you started, it will have to shift position as you get line of fire on the location that you're trying to paint. Same thing with other various bombardments, which in the cityscapes, orbital shots and orbital bombardments, and anything that's not a direct fire weapon from your person tends not to work very Mostly because there's a good chance that the city's buildings and ruins will actually catch the rounds instead of, you know, hitting where it's supposed to hit. And we step it up. Retrieve recon craft. This one will be a pretty quick one. We're gonna go right on top of that thing. This is probably my least favorite faction fight, just because they are the last faction to have been added, and they are quite a bit of a pain in the ass to actually deal with how their units operate. That blend of being a horde that also has ranged attacks, that also has melee attacks, that also has shields, and makes it very difficult to fight, as well as the locations in which we have to fight. Now I just have to locate the black box, which the black box is tied to wreckage that is within this location. Which the wreckage could be anywhere. Ideally, you're going to be looking for smoke plumes, but considering that this place is covered in smoke plumes, there's a very good chance you won't be able to find it very easily, if at all. But since we are in the neighborhood, let's go ahead and target an enemy encampment that's nearby. And I can go over how the Illuminate enemy encampments work. So enemy Illuminate encampments will have these defensive shell-like barriers up, but they will also have bug zappers, aka lightning spiders. If you or allies get too close to that thing, it will go zap zap and you will die. You will die very quickly. Obviously, if you have a medium pen gun, you can shoot them and break them. If you're using light pen rifle though, or anything like that, it's not going to do anything. Explosives work very well against it. This is the spawner for the Illuminates. We're going to go ahead, shred the shield, throw a grenade in the door, let it cook. Not too difficult at all. The only thing is that you have to break it with sustained fire. If you just shoot the hell out of their shield and then reload and it's knocked down, it will fairly quickly regenerate. If you break it and then don't have anything to blow it up with, Based on the debris, black box should be over there. So we've seen the voteless, we've seen the overseers, and we've seen the floaty tattletales. We've taken out the enemy spawner ship types. What else is there about these guys? They have these little explosive barrels that are shaped like little urns that have purple light on them. It's under a blue lamp, of course, but as you can see, purple. It does a little explosion, does not leave any fire or trace behind for doing additional damage over time. Alright, there's the black box ticking away. And there's the symbol for it. Now, a lot of objectives in this game will require you to carry something. When you're carrying something, that means you've got to use a one-handed item as a weapon to defend yourself. Not a lot of primaries are one-handable. You're more than likely going to be reliant on a pistol if you've got one. Is the familiar sound of somebody being siege soldiers, when killed, just like civilians, will deduct money from you, from your mission rewards. They'll also let you know that you have accidentally killed one. However, these fucking lemmings will walk directly into machine gun turret that is in the process of firing. Alright, so we need it in the 2 o'clock position. From its current position. Which is current position. Listen for the sound. That's what we wanted to hear. Already gone. Pick that up. Alright. And we're gonna move right along towards the evac. There's a tower nearby. If I had to guess, it's probably right around the corner here. Yep, okay, so instead of leaving, we're gonna go ahead and run this real quick. This is a cognitive disruptor, one of the unique problematic things that the squids like to deploy. Cognitive Disruptor is a dangerous building. If you touch it, it's current active state and just kills you. What you're looking for are these. You break those, all of those, and Cognitive Disruption goes bye-bye. While that thing is active, it will scramble your stratagem codes every couple of seconds to make them different. But you can still activate stratagems and still throw them. It just changes up what the pattern is. So, it's just one of those things. Free flamethrower. Mind if I do? One thing that the squids are particularly weak against is fire damage. Because their blade of armor doesn't really do shit against fire. And their basic infantry, once inflamed, does not have very many health points. It's fairly quick. You don't underestimate the boatless right there, is because unlike the other nasties from the Terminids or from mods, the boatless are quick enough and aggressive enough and do not have self-preservation, so they will rapidly run up on you. Boatless are very determined to kill you in that regard. Which also makes them very easy to take out with, say, the flamethrower. They're just gonna charge right at you. You can make the ground with the flamethrower flame, and they'll walk into it and kill themselves. Any kind of fire weapon really does just make the Illuminate very, very easy to take out in any real amount of numbers. Also, if you're looking to figure out where on the map their little bases are within these big red clouds, what you're looking for is a saucer-like structure right there. What do you know? Also, it's fairly easy to see them damn lightning spires or to hear them because they just will not stop crackling. Even when you're far away, crackle, crackle, crackle. Now the flamethrower does take a half second to prime. That's because it has to engage the pilot light. So, flamethrowers don't do anything to shoot. So that the nice thing about the flamethrower is even if you empty the tank, it does not have an additional animation compared to other weapons that have to be cocked first. So if you fully extinguish your tank and you start your reload, it will be the same duration no matter what. If you do a partial or if you do a full. That's how they signal for the drop-off of troops. Which I will now show you how I deal with that. Okay, here's their boat. They're gonna drop their guys. Oh my no! I'm about to be attacked by a ton of bullets. Yeah, that little bitty arm shield don't work so good against the flamethrower, bud.
Extraction is available.
And as before, oh, I must have changed it so like pen guns can break those. That's phenomenal. Nice thing about the flamethrower is once the pilot is lit, it does stay on for quite a few seconds after it is no longer active. Can't break it, so. Set it down there. There we go. That's that one taken care of. Now we can extract. Barbecue, bud. I do like that the flamethrower does hit a lot of people's tanks back from an ammo can. Should've taken the ass whooping and just left it at that, bud. Now you're calamari. chopsticks, bud.
ETA T-minus 1 minute.
And another one down the street that just teleported in.
ETA T-minus 20 seconds. ETA T-minus 10 seconds.
Alright. So far, we've had basic infantry, we've had our pontoon stick dudes, we've had our snitch bot things that call in additional reinforcement, we've had the shock towers, and we've had their spawners. Not too bad. These dudes have nasty armor. They can just eat up rounds that you shoot at them. They're not bad. Wait till we get to 3. So level 3, secondary objectives, medium-sized outposts, and heavily armored enemies. We're gonna go ahead with 3. We're gonna go ahead and deploy on this side over here and work our way across. The neat thing about using the machine gun sentry, especially these city maps, is you can use the city's layout against the enemy. Like, so you can fly without the machine gun turret is not going to have to move as much to tear them apart when they start coming. This big intersection up here, this 3-way intersection, I can toss one right here in the middle of this 3-way intersection, and it can cover from there to like there, minimal issue. That's a plus. hit him in the backpack there on the back, it does pop pretty big. flesh mobs are tanky and they are a bit of a pain in the ass to put down. Not impossible. In fact, they're not even terribly difficult to do what you're supposed to do. We have just medium machine gun 630 rounds in the minute mode. You could do it on the faster mode just to piss through the health pool a little bit faster, but I'm not trying to chunk your health as much as I am trying to blast the faces. Just rock quickly if I run into them. Explosives kind of work. Explosives are but for just raw damage output, without trying to
Sending down equipment package.
on maximum fire rate though with this machine gun, I can strip these shields with great speed. And that's actually what we want, is to be able to just piss rounds into this thing. Right off of it and toss a grenade. Again, this is assuming that you don't have any other grenades or more bombs or any of that other shit. Fucked up on rule number 3 there. Anytime you jump, ragdoll it. Damn it. Hit. Fucking weapons from a distance if you can drop the shield. If you can get line of sight on the door, dropping the shield will work. Very effective. Just run up. Wow. He took an AT4 to the chest and lived. is right next to us, right here. Yep, this is it. Now we just have to locate the black box. Towards the front of the crab.
Sub-objective near your location.
There it is. Going up there. strong infantry soldiers who are good at both melee and ranged. It's a weird balance, but they're also aggressive and they have armor plating that can be blown off of them with lower end weapons. And then their normal tiered infantry units that have that melee and ranged capacity come in other flavors as well, such as a ground ranged unit that does long range artillery shooting that likes to fly around in a hell of a pack and be an annoying little bug. And then of course the meatballs aren't that bad, and they take up so much area and move fairly quickly. But there you go. There's a very basic look at tiers 1 through 3 on the Luminant front. And that covers all 3 of the base factions up to level 3. At level 4, you'll start getting heavy outposts, more enemy tactical objectives, and heavily armored enemies. But you won't see massive enemies like super heavy shit. Requires heavy armor pen to go through until like level 5. Level 5 is when you start fighting like the tripods on the Luminant front, the chargers on the Terminid front, or the Bile Titans. On the Automaton front, it's the Hulks and the tank units, and so on and so forth. So yeah, that's all for now. Y'all have a wonderful time. I will get this uploaded as soon as I can.